Hi, this is Post Martin again, and in part 1 of our actions tutorial or video lesson, we learned basically the basic concept of actions, and now we want to extend a little bit on that. So let's have a look at our actions panel. Last episode, first episode, we created this really simple action exposure, and yeah, it's finished recording. It also has its own shortcut key F2, where you can really simply apply it with one keystroke on every image you have loaded into Photoshop. So it's really handy. But for some reason now we noticed that we forgot something. For example, we want to reduce the saturation. Just as an example, you can do whatever you like in these actions. So how can we do that? We have finished recording our action. So it's pretty simple. Let's first apply this action again to the same picture or any other picture. Let's just apply this so we are basically where this action ends up. And now, of course, we can use an adjustment where we reduce vibrance or saturation or whatever. But we can also extend our action. So if I just press here on the last item in our list of actions that we have recorded, and I press the record button again, then I can just extend this action by whatever I want to do. So let me press action or record, and now I pick the hue saturation. Oh no, let me pick the vibrance filter. So here we got the vibrance. It's already been recorded. Make adjustment layer here. Inside you will see that it's the vibrance filter. And now let's change the settings a little bit. For example, just as an example, don't forget about that. I'm not talking about making this picture look nice now. It's just about the actions. Okay, so let me reduce the saturation and maybe pop the vibrance a little bit. Just change the values a little bit, or maybe like that. And I press stop again. So you can see we have extended our action. We have edited. Of course, you can not only extend it at the end, you can also put something in between if you need to. Just put the cursor wherever you want, and after this it will record whatever you do, with this remaining at the end of the action. Let's try if it works. Press record again. Use another filter, for example the curves, and I apply something weird to the curves. There we go. And I press stop again, and you will see that here in the middle of our action it has added the curves filter with the settings that I did. All right. So we have edited an action, which is pretty easy to do. And now still the same key shortcut applies to this particular action. So let's go here. I just remove this, what we did before. Here's my exposure action, and I hit either play or the F2 key. Let me use the F2 key. Boom, there we are. And all these filters have been applied to this image in the order that has been recorded. So that means, first of all, here's our background image. Then it applied the exposure. Then it applied the curves. And as a final step, it applied the vibrance. All right, so in this lesson, we have learned how to edit, how to modify an action. That's pretty easy. There's more ways to edit an action. For example, as you have hopefully seen, I double-clicked the last step of this action. I just double-clicked it. So this panel opens with the settings for the vibrance and saturation. And it also got into record mode. So now I can change these vibrance settings and saturation settings. Let's Let's go there, for example, hit OK. And this step, this vibrance step, has been modified in the action. So it will apply to every picture that I use this action on. So let's get back to this one. Let's just remove all these things, go back to the regular original picture, hit F2 to apply this exposure, or select it here, and this time we just use the play button. Boom, there we are. And the vibrance has been applied with the new values because I changed the action. All right, editing actions, possible, very helpful. And now as a last step in preparation for the next video lesson I want to do about batch processing, using these actions on many pictures. So you don't have to load, like for example, 100 pictures in Photoshop, switch through the individual pictures and hit F2 each and every time. We can simplify that. We can make that much easier, much faster. We will see that in the next video lesson. As you can see, we have applied lots of effects here, and all of them are editable right now. But the fact that we have separate layers, like our background image, and then these effects or adjustment layers on top, that can be a little bit of a hindrance when you want to batch apply this to many pictures. Because in the end, basically, we don't want all these layers. We only want the finished picture. So what I do now, in this specific action here, I hit record again, and I add one action, flatten image. So all these effects have been applied to the picture and flattened down to only the background layer. There's no adjustment layers now anymore. It's just one picture. And we hit stop in the actions panel, and it has been added at the end of our exposure action. So now it's pretty easy. The picture that we have opened in this case is a TIFF format picture, but it could be JPEG, PNG, PSD, whatever, TGA. Anyway, now it's possible to just save it, and it will be overwritten, the original one. And now I think you already understand that there can be a big problem, because if you work on your original pictures and you just hit save, then your original picture will be gone and overwritten with this new version. So if you do this kind of work with actions and batch processing, which will be shown in the next video, then always make sure that you make a copy. Just copy the folder with your pictures to a different place, so you always keep a backup of your original pictures. Don't be lazy, do that. You will be very grateful at some point, because maybe you messed up something in the automation process, or one picture just didn't take your action very well, doesn't look nice. Then you can always go back to the original pictures. Never, never, never overwrite your originals. Okay, so that's for now. Next lesson will be about batch processing using these actions on many, many pictures. You can even go into the thousands of pictures easily once you have created a nice action that fits for all of them. Okay, bye-bye. See ya.